Well, everybody, we've come to that very sad time where we are staring the very last session of how to make money with email in the face as we're looking at, we've had 4 glorious sessions up to this point, and we're going to wrap it up with a fantastic, if not mediocre, session to cap everything off today, where we're going to talk about ways that people are using their email list to sell stuff, and how they're making money in the sponsorship world, which I think is kind of interesting. So let's talk about some of that. First of all, if you have any updates for me, excuse me, in the chat, I'd love to see it. Anything happen that you're excited about? Anything happen that you're frustrated about? We'll have a few minutes afterwards if need to stick around, and I'll do my best to help you out. But let me know how things are going. Hopefully some of you have launched your quick start guides. You're starting to get things out there, and off we go. So let's dive in here. I have on my screen a presentation, and we're going to talk about selling something. While I'm getting this loaded, who's selling stuff out there? Who is got a product, service, consulting, or coaching course? Who's selling anything? And I would love to know any and all of that. All right, here we go. Showing my screen. Hey, I love ebooks if people buy them. How about that? I personally, just because I personally don't quite understand what the draw of ebooks is, I know that there's a lot of people out there that are actually crushing it with ebooks. So who am I to be critical about it? All right. Lindsay did the whole fall guy. It's okay. Well, summer is coming to a rapid close in everywhere but Phoenix. That seems like it'll never end up here, but hopefully we can get you something launched. And if you get over your technical hurdles, let me know if you get stuck. All right. And you sell desserts from your pastry shop. What does that mean? You're actually selling recipes for desserts, or you're actually selling literal desserts and shipping them to people? Curious to know on that. All right, well, let's dive into this. We have a whole lot of things as when we have an audience that we could be selling people. And many of us have done quite well here in this space, and some of us is brand new. Some of us it's a little bit of a strange territory because we made our money off of creating content and then having ads on that content. But there's a lot of things that you can sell, and this is not about that, but I wanted to just go through a couple of these. You know, there's once you have a big healthy list, the ability to diversify your revenue streams is sitting right there. So when you have a list, you can sell courses and ebooks, video series, memberships. I have listed here digital products. Some of you are doing ebooks. I could do, if I got my act together, I could do an autograph book for people that are going on Disney cruise and want, you know, when they run into Elsa, they want Elsa to sign their autograph book. So it's fun stuff. Here's just some examples of people who have been in that I either know or have been in my masterminds that are crushing it. The Tiny Life. Ryan at Tiny Life helps people build tiny homes. And so you can imagine if you're setting out to build one of these things, spending $40 on an ebook can actually be quite helpful and save you a lot of money and mistakes along the way. So this is an ebook, 245 pages. I've heard Laura speak multiple times about her business at Momables, and this has been a while, but at one session I was with her, she mentioned that she makes more off of her meal plans that she sells to her list than she does off of her website advertising. Cassidy from Succulents and Sunshine, she's been on Pat Flynn's podcast. She is very active in the Raptive Facebook community. So she's crushing it with email, and she sells courses. So she has this free course that she starts with. By the way, even if you're not in the Succulents category, you're not interested in that, you don't even know what a succulent is. If you think about selling something along the lines that is a course, go sign up for what Cassidy is doing and see how she takes you from free to paid. She does a very nice job with that. Speaking of ebooks, somebody that you can go take a look at is Maya at Wholesome Yum. She has ebooks. She just did another promotion. It's not This Is Not It, but she just did another promotion for a bundle of ebooks. And she modifies these by the season and releases new ones, and she does a really great job. She's one to take a look at. Now, before we get too far into this whole concept of sales with email, I want to talk about sales in general. I believe that there's a secret to you selling more, no matter what it is, that you have not tapped into. Okay? This is Kimberly from Sweet Red Poppy. And when I was working with Kimberly and her husband, Josh, we were doing some really great work together. And when we were done, I said, hey, would you mind doing a little video testimonial? This is when I was really getting going. And she says, sure. And what I expected is that she would hold up her phone and she would record and talk, hold it up and talk to it. Well, she's a crafter with a whole studio in her workshop. And so when the cameras were there, when she was at the makeup on, she filmed a video that was 90 seconds long and described what life was like before working with me and what happened when we worked together and the results. She says in this video that she's made hundreds of thousands of dollars off of the stuff that we put into place together. Look, I can't pay for that advertising, right? That's gold to me. Somebody that gets out there and says what their results were with my services in today's day and age, where anybody can claim to be anything. What do I mean by this? Where am I going with this? Testimonials, friends. I know that this is not pure email right now, okay? I'm not talking about pure email. I'm just talking about marketing. Whatever your product, I don't care if it's a dessert, if it's an ebook, if it's a course, if it's your brand new super duper spatula that you've decided to sell, the most important thing that you can do to get going is get some credibility through testimonials. How do you do that? You ask. You have to ask. I'm going to show you here. I have an email template. Let me just open this up here, and I can show you how this works. I can come down to here. Where is it? I cannot see my whole screen right now. There we go. I can come here, go to templates, and I can have at the end of a session, I can have them give me a testimonial. So here's an example. End of engagement, thank you. So what I do is I usually just say, thanks. Hey, so-and-so, as we wrapped up our consulting, I want to thank you for the opportunity to work on your email marketing. I truly hope our time together was beneficial, blah, blah, blah. If you felt I did a good job for you, a testimonial would be very helpful to me as I'm trying to build up my cred. This is the place where the review would serve best. Now, when people go here, let's take you to here. You can see that I got 4.9 out of 5 stars. I had one person that gave me a 1, and that person is not actually never even met me. So I have no idea who that is. But you can see that Darcy just recently, email on autopilot has made me rethink. Riyadh, Simply Stacy, on and on and on. Okay, so there's a whole bunch of testimonials here, and people can sort through that. That's enormously helpful to somebody that is selling any or considering making a purchase of my services or my products. How would you do that with ebooks? Well, you got to get in the hands of people. You've got to ask them to give you those reviews. I had a session with a client who was launching a cookbook, and the number one thing that we talked about was getting reviews. She wanted to know about Sales Funnel to start with. I said, And I said, well, what are you actually going to share with people? How are they going to know that this cookbook is any good? And that led us all the way back to testimonials and reviews. So, friends, how can you get testimonials? You have to ask. So seed the product, if you will. I have a feeling, Lindsay, that there's probably plenty of people who would sample your desserts and say nice things about them. I don't know if that's an issue for you or if that's something that's a little bit of a blind spot, but that might be a place to get started. And that's not even email. So let's talk about email now. If you're going to actually use email to sell something, anything, here are some elements that you might consider having. We talked about testimonials and reviews. Those are obvious. But what about a guarantee? In today's day and age of digital, I don't know if I can trust the person on the other side of the, and let's be honest, you and I don't have the marketing budgets to have built up a brand. By giving a money back guarantee, you can do a lot of, you can save yourself a lot of hassle. So when somebody sees that there's no risk to them to try your product, this is an enormously helpful opportunity. Also, I believe that if you can make your offer end, it needs to go away at some point. If it's always there, email, it's hard to push it. So scarcity and time-bound matter. Scarcity means I only have a certain amount of these. It's only going to, time-bound means it's only going to be available at this deal, at this price, in this format, with this content, in this partnership for a limited amount of time. You have to act before that. I also love to have an added value. Anything that you can throw in as a bonus gives you an excuse to talk about that product. Let's go back to that discussion I was having with the blogger about the cookbook. So she has a lot of friends in the space who have additional ebooks. She has bonus recipes. She's self-publishing. She doesn't have a lot of do's and don'ts being thrown at her from her publisher. So she is throwing in bonus recipes for people that pre-order. She is throwing in a Facebook 60-minute exclusive cooking class where she goes through cooking one of the recipes or two of the recipes that are in the cookbook. She gives a chapter of the cookbook early before anybody else can get it to the people who pre-order. You see how each one of these have different value, which it costs her very little, if anything at all, for her to put these into place. Having an added value gives you something to talk about. It gives you an excuse to say, hey, I have this thing, and here's why you need to listen to me right now. So before we go too far, and I'm going to share with you a traditional sales funnel, but check this out. I don't know these people. They're not clients of mine. I'm just a big fan of their copywriting. This is Truvani. And if any of you have ever done or used protein powder, you might agree with me that the thing that you care most about with protein powder is taste, all right? Truvani knows that, and they have tapped into this. I want you to look at all the elements of copywriting for sales on this page. Again, this isn't email, but this is marketing and bringing those elements all together. Let's start here. She has 7,100 reviews. Ooh, well, I don't know what I just did there. That was crazy. Oh, I clicked reviews and it took me down to all the reviews. Now, notice, before I go too far, notice what she talks about. Taste, the amazing taste. The taste is great. You may be wondering, how does it taste so good? Chocolate's my favorite. It's so delicious. Natural flavors. Chocolate protein tasted amazing. How does it taste like dessert? Here's why people rave about it. Satisfies your sweet, on and on and on about taste. Now, there's other features or benefits to this. It tastes like brownie batter. It's just that they've figured out the number one thing that this nutritious, delicious protein powder can solve, and that's taste. with my email and autopilot course, you've seen that I talk about all sorts of stuff. I talk about growing your list. I talk about evergreen sequences. I talk about GDPR, single versus double opt-in, broadcast schedules, pop-ups, the whole thing, lots of it. But you know what I promote the most? It's list growth. Why? Because that's what most people want. That's the problem most people struggle with. And so when I'm sending out emails and talking about my email and autopilot course, I'm talking about Jane Doe grew her list by 5 billion% in just 5 minutes after using my course, right? This kind of stuff. And I use real case studies. And then I get testimonials of people who talk about, yeah, he really helped me grow. Yeah, I doubled my list size in 3 weeks. Well, yeah, right? On and on and on. Okay. So let's go through this. Look at all the testimonials. So Amanda here, I don't know what the heck's going on here, but this lady here, this is not like over reproduced, right? What about this one? So that was Vicky. Here's Danette. I've been using it every day. It's actually empty. Okay, so this one's the founder. So that's a little bit more polished image. A quote from a verified customer. And then down here, oh yeah, so it's in stock. Yay! So you can buy it. You can buy it now. You can subscribe and save. So there is an offer there, 17% when you buy today. Look at all these though. These people are, again, testimonials that you can watch, and they seem like real people, don't they? Nothing fancy here. Oh, there's that guarantee. Fall in love or your money back, 30 days, no questions asked. Bingo. Another thing I like is, got questions? They list every possible question you can think of. Look at all these questions, and then they just answer them here. And then down to the reviews. 4.8. Look at all of them, just on and on and on and on. So, and this is nice, you can reach a real person. All right, why did I share Truvani aside from pointing out a couple of things? What you have right here, folks, I'm going to copy this, I'm going to put it in here. My guess is that many of you have not done much sales copywriting before. You're content creators by trade and by experience. Marketing copy is a little bit different. It's all about solving problems, getting to the point, but also using all these tools that Truvani is putting into practice here. I hope that you will go and look at your sales pages, because this has to do with email, because wherever we send them needs to convert. It may not be the email's fault. If you just have this one real quick, short sales page, that's not enough. Look at what Truvani did and aspire to be like them in that level of detail, in that level of thoroughness. You can do it. And you may not have to do exactly everything that they're doing, but by golly, what if you could? All right, let's get out of there. So if you're going to do a sales email, you're probably going to think about an email launch. Let's say that you're going to do a big product day, okay? And you're going to, you're going to have a big sale and you're going to push it for a week, or you're releasing a new product, whatever. This here is not what I suggest that you do every single bit of this. No siree. But what I suggest that you do is look at a common sales funnel. I did not invent this, but you will recognize these patterns. You've seen these before if you've ever been involved with receiving sales emails. All right. So if you look at these, what we often start with is prior to the email or to the sales launch, hey, what's your biggest struggle with X? And then what you're looking for there is engagement, for people to reply back to you, so that you've got some user-generated content that you can use for future emails. But on top of that, it's mostly just a tease that kind of sets them up, something's coming. Then when it's launch day, that's more of a long form email. It's a little bit different than the Matt Mullen short and sweet. This one's a little bit more like a product page with as much information in it as possible to get them hyped, with links, of course, back to the sales page. But this is a little bit different. Now, these next 3 emails, of course, you don't have to do this many emails. I know some of you are probably going, oh my goodness, this is too many. I'm going to overwhelm my audience. Don't worry. I'm going to show you how to avoid the annoying factor here in just a moment. Okay, so stick with me. But of these 3 emails, if you decide, if you're doing this in big, you might want to do one email for each of these, or you might want to just pick and choose. But send an email that focuses on the main feature. In my case, that's on list growth. So that email would be all about how email and autopilot is going to help you grow your list finally. Truvani is going to be all about, you found it, the chocolate protein powder that tastes like brownies. It's all about the taste. The next one, we talked about this, is testimonials. What do I mean by this? This is an email that's just like, you copy and paste screenshots from what people said about you in emails or in Facebook comments or Trustpilot, like I just showed you. You just copy and paste them in there, as many as possible. This can be a sloppy, kind of ugly looking email. It doesn't matter, because people care about the content there. What are people saying about your product, your sales, your service? You could also send an email that says, here's why you might not buy this, and then answer every single objection you can think of and be honest about it. Okay, so your desserts are $500 a piece. Well, that's a really good deal when you consider that they're made of solid gold, and you lose 10 pounds every time you buy one. You can't afford not to eat one of these desserts, right? So, or, hey, why isn't it in pink? Well, we ran out of pink dye. Sorry, maybe next time I'll have it in pink. You just list every objection and you answer it. It really goes a long way to building trust too. Now, on the last day, you send 1 to 3 emails. You definitely got to send one that says, hey, last chance. It's a final day. But you could also do one in the morning that basically says, hey, we didn't want you to miss out. It's the last day of the sale. Or, okay, it's ending in 6 hours. Here's what Sally had to say about it. Throw in a testimonial. And then with 2 hours to go or an hour to go, last chance, we're closing it down in an hour. Now, some of you are going to cringe at this. I feel a little bit the same way, but this works. You can get another 15 to 20% of sales when you say the next day, you're like, great news. If you delayed, we've extended it one last day. Or you can, some people choose to say, okay, we heard you, and we've decided to open it up for one last day. All right, so these are the elements to a standard email sales funnel. Of course, this is a cookie cutter template. Everybody's going to be different. I'm just giving you some very common emails in a common sales funnel. Now, that annoying thing, allow people to opt out. So what you want to do is after the first email, maybe starting in the second email, is you could say up top or down below at the bottom, but make it so it's not hidden. You could say something like, if you're absolutely sure you don't need Danielle's super duper cleaning guide, click here to mute future emails about this promotion. What you're doing on the back end is that you set up a tag. When they click that link, it sets that tag like mute, the Black Friday 2023 offer. Then every email that you send in the sequence just excludes anybody who has that tag. I hope that makes sense. That it might be platform dependent, but most platforms will do that for you. I know ConvertKit does, and I know that some of the others do something like that as well. All right, let's talk about your exact products here for a second, okay? This is something I know very, very well. I told you before, I was the chief marketing officer for a daily deal website. And daily deals, sometimes stuff is truly on sale. Sometimes you get your hands on this carton full of goods that fell off a truck somewhere and have a ding and dent, and therefore they're an amazing deal. But most of the time in deals, this deal space, stuff isn't really that great of a deal. So we had to create urgency because we were sending 3 emails a day. What many people do, and those of you who have been in the corporate world, you know this, you have to get organized and you create a promotional calendar. So what you can do with this very simple approach is you can take every one of your every month of the year, just line it up. Boop, 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 boop. So you might be doing January, February through December, and then just make a plan for each one of those months. Does it make sense to promote one of your products or promote that product in that month? Now, it's not going to every single month. That doesn't make a lot of sense because then it's not a promotion, right? But it might make sense for you if, for example, back to school time, Crispin, that might be a great time where people are thinking about, both teachers and parents are thinking about the stuff that you have to offer. So those ebooks you might want to do a bundle together in the month of August. I'm making stuff up, but Valentine's Day is a great time for those, for those romantic desserts, just like they are for 1-800-Flowers, right? They do big promotions then. You do the same thing. Now, what's a promotion? Well, it doesn't have to be a discount. I've got that down here, but use that sparingly. What I'm talking about is you add in something that makes it special. Why are we talking about this right now? Well, because I've added in a bonus module that will help you learn to dunk a basketball in 3 days or less. I don't know, whatever the thing is, you add in something that bumps up the value. You can do that with your friends in the space that have digital products that want a little bit of extra promotion. You can do that with stuff you've built in the past that you want to bring forward. You can do that with bonus content. You can do that with, as I mentioned, a unique Facebook Live that is invite only. There's all sorts of things you can do to throw in that feel like added value. What I have done multiple times with the email on autopilot course is it's $500, but when you buy it this month, you can subscribe or you can sign up for a mastermind where I will work with you and a few of your peers directly to make this happen. So I'm giving up some of my time to get more sales, but that's all I'm giving up. It doesn't cost me anything more than that. Okay. So what kind of promotions can you do? Is anybody stuck here? This is something that I did a lot of. Another thing that you can do is new products or kill a product. We're not, so the upcoming fall ebook, for those of you who are doing something seasonal, all right? I'm just launching the fall 2023 and the introductory price is $19.99 when it's normally $50. All right, or this one works a lot in e-commerce. Almost gone. Literally, we are almost out of such and such. If you want to be one of the few that can get one of these remaining ones, get it now. That works really, really well. All right. Any questions about your selling of your own products? I'm going to leave this space here. But just as a recap, if you recall, segmentation is king here. If you know who the audience is and what they need, if you have a thriving, growing list of those people, and then you have a thoughtful promotional calendar built out with testimonials that you get to share in email, with a guarantee and reviews that are authentic and real, you have the recipe for success in sales. Some of your questions might be, should I sell after a quick start guide? Sure. Should I sell in a forever suite? Sure. Should I do evergreen sales? Sure. You want to experiment and try all that stuff. A food blogger I like always has a photo and a link and a call to action for ebook in the footer of every email that she sends out. What do you think about that? I think it's great. I don't think she's going to get a ton of sales, but she's going to get probably a dribble of sales. And if nothing else, it is letting her audience know that she has an ebook for sale. Now, when she comes back and says, because it's fall, I'm putting together the ultimate fall ebook bundle where you get my 5 best ebooks for the price of 2. Then that's what's going to drive a lot more sales for her. From clients you may have worked with in the similar past, what products could home decor organization DIY sites sell? Well, that's a good one. Well, there's some people that actually, I know one lady who actually does individual consulting services, almost like interior decorating virtually. So it's almost like coaching one-on-one, and I'll tell you what to do there. It's tricky though. A lot of that falls into the affiliate space. That you do a lot of affiliate sales there. So you might do something along the lines of what Ryan did with the tiny home. And that was get very, very detailed on how to make things or how to do things. Because if I have this thing, I can Remodel-aholic does it. Has a lot of things that you can print off and you purchase them. It's like a blueprint. And so you can take that with you when you're out working. You don't have to be back and forth to the YouTube videos and so forth. Good questions. Anybody else have any questions related to products? This is an area that requires some practice. Don't get frustrated if your stuff happens, doesn't take off right from the get-go. Your audience isn't used to you selling stuff to begin with. That's where those testimonials come into play. Oh man, I'm going back to it. Any new product you have, I don't care what you have to do. Seed it with your friends. By the way, I'll mention what we're doing with that cookbook author. She has a very loyal following, a Facebook group following. These people have been with her for years, and they make all the recipes and they post their pictures. And so these are her like diehard true believers. She has picked a handful of them, the very vocal ones, the very active ones, and she has given them as much of the cookbook as she could for free. In fact, what she did is very smart. I came up with the idea, but I still think it's smart. Is she's taken certain chapters, not the whole thing, and chunked out certain chapters and given them to different people and asked them personally, will you please try a recipe in this chapter and take a picture of it and let me know how it went. With that personal ask from this big time blogger that they follow and that they love, oh my goodness, they're all over it. Then you have a built-in set of people who love you, who tried your stuff, and are giving you a testimonial. All right. Before I switch gears to sponsorships, I want to talk about ads with Raptive. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed one here. I've seen affiliate links in some roundup emails from really big bloggers. When I click through them, it looks like they're going through a website before I'm rerouted to Amazon. Any idea about this? Tried to, I think they may be using, what's it called? It used to be called Restyle Me. Somebody knows. You remember what that's called? Anyway, yeah, so there's services you can sign up for. They're actually the affiliate you're sharing with Restyle Me, and so your account is with them. And I guess the idea is that supposedly that converts better. I'm not an expert on Restyle Me. I've never used them, but I've seen that too. All right.